hey, Chet, with Mount Rushmore complete, all of our favorite team listings are complete except for the Flyers. We're going to get that done tonight. So we had to narrow it down to 8, and it was really, really tough.
This was maybe even harder than the whole Mount Rushmore project. So many great, likable Flyers over the years. I mean, to settle on 8 favorites, it was tough. I chose 4 from the Cup years in the mid-'70s, 4 more recent guys, but man, not making the cut. Here, these are the guys who did not make my cut of favorite Flyers. Names like Dave Schultz, Kenny the Rat Lintzman, the Count Bob Daly, I loved him, Tom Bladen, Danny Briere, Reggie the Rifle Leach, John LeClaire, Ron Hextall, Rick Tocchet, Eric Desjardins, and more recently, of course, Claude Giroux. Even Hall of Famer Mark Howe did not make my list. So many great Flyers, so many fun Flyers, but those guys not in my top or favorite 8.
Well, and I had a little bit of a long list, too, of near misses, and I didn't even have some of the ones that you had. Mark Howe, Bill Barber, Tim Kerr, who I had in, and then I moved him out because I forgot somebody else. Rod Brindamore, John LeClaire, Brad McCrimmon, the other guy I really liked that you didn't make. What a list. And just I couldn't even think of them all. There were so many that I really enjoyed. And so I'm at 8. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go 4 through 8. We're going to throw them out there. Then we'll get a little slower on our final 3. So lay out your 4 through 8. Let's have it.
Okay, here we go. In no particular order, Bill, my numbers 4 through 8. The great Bill Barber, who you mentioned. I'm surprised he's not on your list. I loved watching Billy Barber. He finished second in the Rookie of the Year, balloting to that Steve Vickers. Was that his name? Love Bill Barber. The hardworking Rod Brindamore, who you also mentioned. I loved Brindy. He could have been in my top 3. I loved him so much. And 2 guys that have made multiple appearances on our show, the high-scoring, undersized winger Brian Propp. I'm actually bigger than Brian Propp, believe it or not. I stand next to him. He's 5'9", 5'9.5". I'm 5'11". Hard to believe he's a little better player than me. And I swear I loved watching this guy play every time he raced onto the ice. And that is, yes, Bob Hound Kelly. He just happens to be our second guest this week. But I loved watching Hound whenever he came on the ice.
Absolutely. Well, here's my 4 through 8, Chet. And you're probably going to find this a little bit hard to believe, but Bernie Perrant is one of them. I didn't go with a goaltender. I just didn't go with a goaltender. I just didn't. Brian Propp was also on that list, certainly way at the top, and I think Propp should be a Hall of Famer. Rick Tocchet. Loved everything about Rick Tocchet. Just tough as nails. You wanted something done in the corners, he was the guy. He'd fight, he'd score, he'd do it all. Rick Tocchet. Mike Richards. I always liked Mike Richards, and I thought he was a good player, and, maybe he had a little too much going on outside the game, that got him in a little trouble here. But I always thought he was a big game player, and I really liked Mike Richards. And, of course, Claude Giroux, I like him. By the time it's all said and done, Giroux's going to be way up at the top 3 in all the offensive categories for the Flyers. So Claude Giroux's my favorite Flyer now for sure. So that's my 4 through 8. That gets us to the top 3. Now, remember, this is not necessarily the best players. These are the guys we like to watch. These are favorites.
All right. You ready?
Go.
These are in order now, reverse order. Number 3 on my list, big number 88. Eric Lindros. He was just so much fun to watch when he was healthy. Eric Lindros, man, what a beast. I wish he could have stayed healthy and had more great years with the Flyers. Number 2, the guy who was so great in those 2 Stanley Cup winning finals, and he's also one of the greatest human beings on the planet, fresh from his visit last month to our show. Number 1 on the jersey and number 2 on my list, Bernie Perrant. And my number 1 had to be, of course, the captain, the MVP, the heart and soul of those 1970s Flyers teams, Bobby Clarke. There you go.
Well, and we're close there. My number 3 was Dave Schultz. And Dave Schultz, along with Bob Kelly and Don Selesky and Moose Dupont and all those guys that made up the Broad Street Bullies, that did whatever it took to get the job done. And so that's where I went with number 3. My number 2 was Eric Lindros. Man, a man among boys, no doubt, when he played. And my number 1, like yours, was Bobby Clarke. So that is our 8. And man, it was tough.
That was fun. Yeah, we could have had so many more, but we settled on those 8, and we agreed on 2 out of our top 3, Clarke and Lindros. And I had Bernie Perrant in there. You had Dave Schultz.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, that was fun. We've done all the teams now, so maybe we'll have to get the Hound's take on his top 8. You think he's got 8 that he could throw up there?
Oh, I think so. Let's get it going.
Flyers to watch. Maybe we could get a good list coming out of him. But hey, let's get going. We're talking hockey. Let's do it. 2-time Stanley Cup champion, one of the main Broad Street bullies, Bob Hound Kelly. Welcome back to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Hey, Hound. Welcome back. So nice to see your smiling face. So, hey, as you're well aware, May 19th was the anniversary of that first Stanley Cup victory. You, unfortunately, Bob, suffered a knee injury in the previous series, I believe, against the Rangers. I'm sure it was tough for you to have to sit out the finals against the Bruins, but still, how satisfying was it for you guys to become the first of the expansion teams to break through and win the cup?
Well, you know what? Our whole team back in that era, we were never about ourselves, our individual points and that. We just wanted to play as a team and win as a team. And I got knocked out. Ronnie Harris, he caught me. I was filling in for Dornhofer. He was hurting out. I think there's some other guys who were hurting out too. So I had a chance to play in the last game in the Spectrum, but I warmed up. I got about a 3-second cameo appearance skating by the bench. But, you know, Bruce Cowlick was healthy. There's a healthy kid there, and you can't sacrifice the team just for you to be there to play. So that's why the second cup was a little bit better. So I was just a spectator. Plus, in those days, the old Boston Garden stuff, I couldn't even travel with the players, you know, on the plane, go there to Boston. So it was kind of a tough run, but, you know, I paid my dues throughout the course of the year with everybody, and it was good. I mean, it just, you know, it was an outstanding win. Like you said, it was a big boost for Philadelphia people, fans, and that. The city came together. I mean, it was awesome. 2 million people. It was awesome, and we were the first expansion team to win the cup. So, pretty significant fact there. And you know, having a guy like Freddie Sherrill and Ed Snyder and Keith Allen, everybody enjoying it. I mean, they put the team together. It was awesome.
Well, Bob, when you guys bounce right back the next year, you win another one. Did you guys think you were on a kind of a dynasty roll there, that there were going to be even more than 2? Winning 2 is awful. Winning 1's awful tough. Winning 2 is certainly tough.
Yeah, well, it just goes to show you when you're talking about that, the teams like when Montreal defeated us in '76 the next year, they went on to win 4 in a row. Then the Islanders go 4 in a row. Then Edmonton goes 4 in a row. I mean, you don't get there without first great goaltending and working from the way out. You get there as playing as a team. You get there from bonding with each other. You got to suffer together. You got to fight adversity together. You got to go in and win the battles, tough cities to go into. And, you know, when you win a cup, it's tough, like you say, you come back 2 in a row because everybody wants to knock you off. So, you know, you're traveling a long road trip and stuff like that. Everybody's prepared for you. They want to beat you. They want to see you get beat. So it's a great challenge, a great motivator. But, you know, we're just happy and just a great place for me to land. And, you know, Mr. Snyder took a chance on me, so it was good.
Bob, you're still in the area, of course. You're doing some things for the Flyers, community relations and whatnot. How often do people remind you about those back-to-back cups, the parades, and just how much the team's meant to Flyers fans?
Well, they'll come up to you. I mean, I'm in the type of situation where I'm kind of a meet and greet guy, a little less handshaking these days, a little more boot kicking. But, you know, the people are just really good, and they brought their kids along. And there's so much history here in the city of Philadelphia for all the sports teams and stuff like that. It's different than it was back in the old days. I mean, Philadelphians were looking for something to grab onto. It's a hard-working blue-collar town. It's probably more of a tech town right now with still that hard blue-collar attitude going out there. And they just latched on to us. I mean, we get 15,000 people to go play a softball game at Vet Stadium, you know, raising money for charity and doing things. And it was a big belief with Mr. Snyder that is giving back to the community, being involved in the community. So we would attend all kinds of events, and you'd have everybody show up. We used to play the Ironworkers every year religiously. I mean, they got huge arms on them. They're smacking the ball out of the ball field. And you know, then they say, okay, now you're going to come and drink with us after the game. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool.
Hey, Bob, I wanted to ask you back to the game situation. You know, I don't remember back when you played so much as currently, where, and there's not a lot of fighting now, but with a little tap on the shin, like let's dance kind of thing. You see that more now. Did that happen as much back then, or was it more kind of impulsive? And my follow-up to that is everybody didn't win every fight. Do you become friends with those guys, as life goes on?
Well, back then in the day, we didn't have a players' union, so we really did hate everybody, and is the way it should be. And what happened is difference between Schulte and I. Schulte wanted to be the baddest guy out there. He wanted to be the worst ass that everybody wanted to be at. And so he would challenge, just go out and basically do the same thing, challenge all the tough guys that want to fight and go with him. I was a guy that kind of more or less fought for the team. So if you're out there taking liberties at some of the guys, the little smaller guys, whatever, that's generally when I got involved. Every now and then I go try somebody and see how that worked out. If it's not good, I go back to the old routine. But, the stage fighting is, it's an honor to fight LaRock. It's an honor to fight this guy. They allow you to fight these guys. It's different set of rules, but I tell you, we've always had a bunch of very interesting guys to follow. The Dave Browns, Cochran, we've had Brash here. Ben Wilson was a terror. We had a lot of tough guys who were here, very energetic, and Daryl Stanley was back there. So we always had a tough team, and the guys that couldn't fight, they still played tough anyways. You skate a little bit taller, but our guys would go to the pits, go to the front of the nets when you can take liberties. And Billy Smith, I still owe him 3 or 4 times for at least hitting me in the back of the legs, the ankles. So it's all good though. But at the end of the day, those Island guys, you don't find a better set of guys than them. Tonali and Nystrom and Howard and Billy and the guys back there. And same as Montreal, as much as you hated them playing against them. At the end of the day, they're good guys, and sometimes they end up being your teammates.
Hey, Bob, you played left wing from time to time on Bobby Clarke's line. Was Clarke as great a leader as it seemed to all of us watching?
Yeah, he was. I got here as a year behind him, and I played the first year, him and I and Louis Morrison. And we had some chemistry, but we didn't have a whole lot of talent. We struggled in certain areas and that, and some of the teams were quicker than us. But the work ethic and the preparation put in for the games and all that, you could tell he was a force in the locker room before he got to sea. And when he went away to the '72, the Russian-Canada series, and Phil Esposito made that big pitch there at the end in Vancouver, how bad, they've been treated and everything, and said, we'll make a difference over in Russia. And, Ferguson walks in, he says, you know what, somebody's got to take Kharlamov out. So, Clarke went over there as the 5th centerman, so he just went out, broke his ankle, now you move on, play the game. So, that's the kind of guy he was. And that series, that's the first time Clarke had been around that many All-Stars at one time. And, you're playing with so many great guys and just elevated, and he got his shot and he made the best of it. But his work and determination, we were the first team, I believe, back in that day of 12 teams to take the sweatsuits the day of a game skate and ditch them. It was time to wear your equipment out there. It makes a difference in how you play. And we're first guy to use video. Brought Mike Nicolak in for video there with Freddie and everything. So we had a lot of different changes, a lot of great stuff. But everybody came in with a great character and a great set of values, which it's about the team. It's not about us.
Hey, Bob, do you get asked as much about the Flyers Russia game in '76 as you do about the Stanley Cup games?
Yeah, they're pretty well. They obviously the first 2 cups were ranked 1 and 2 in Philadelphia, and then the Russian game is up there at 3. And then of course now you got, if you move on, we've had a lot of great highlights. 85, 87. So we've had good highlights throughout and all that, but those are 3. There was a Cold War going on. Clarke still hated the Russians back at that point in time, so a few years didn't bother him. He's not shy to tell you about that either, but it's just the way it was.
Hey, Bob, just before you came on with us tonight, Bill and I were talking about our favorite 8 Flyers to watch play. And for real, you were on my list. It was mainly because of the way you played back. I swear to God, as the late Flyers announcer Gene Hart wrote in his book describing your style, he skated so swiftly and with such reckless abandon that he seemed totally out of control. In fact, just about the only way for Kelly to stop himself was to crash into something or somebody. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, it's not too many holes I can shoot in that one. I realized I didn't play that much. I was well rested. I had lots of energy to give. So it's a team needed a spark. You got to go give that spark. But it's funny. You guys remember the Hillman brothers, Wayne and Larry Hillman?
Sure.
So Moonshine, we're sitting on the bench. I survived my first 3 NHL games and exhibition. So now my 4th game, I'm back in Oshawa. We're playing the Oakland Seals, and I'm sitting there beside Wayne, and he goes, "Hey kid, you want to make the team?" I'm going, "Yeah. What do I do? He says, "Next time out, go give to that guy with the mustache on, see how you do." Sounds good to me. So next shift out, he was out there. Go, let's drop the gloves and do the dance. Turned out it was Carl Vadnais, and he led the league in penalties the year before that. Thanks for the tip, Mooner.
They probably didn't know that left was coming.
It doesn't matter. It only hurts for a second.
Boy, Bob, as Chet said, we came up with our list of 8. You have 8 Flyers you've enjoyed watching in your career in Philadelphia?
Well, obviously, I love Clarke. Bernie, he's just a nutcase, but he's one of the most awesome goaltenders out there. So I got to run with those 2 guys. You said, watching Mark Howe play. I enjoy watching Danny Briere. I think that, we've had toughness guys all up and down the thing there. Simon Gagne, Mark Recchi, Rick Tocchet. I can throw names out there because, I'm there on a game-to-game basis, so it's not just watching a highlight reel. I see how they play under adversity, coming back after losing some games and that. I see their toughness in standing up for each other. Ben Wilson was fun to play alongside. He battled that big Archie Henderson from Washington 2 or 3 times. And great fights. You just don't get fights like that.
Yeah. Hey, I mentioned Gene Hart a minute ago. Is it true that you and Gene would often trade good-natured or sometimes not so good-natured insults with one another?
You know what? Gene and I had, at least I had the most respect for him. And I think it went both ways there. We had a lot of fun. And we traveled a lot of different ways. We always had to fly out commercial, and then we'd fly back charter for Saturday night games. And I'd have a lot of fun with Gene, and he just tore me apart. And Dornhofer would be the referee. And give you an example. So we're boarding an airplane, and Gene would like to prance up and down the aisleway, waiting for people to get in and do stuff and that. Ultimately, he comes back and he gets a Coke. Always gets a Coke from the stewardess. Being wanting to know who he kind of is a little bit, which is all great stuff. Very positive with the family. So you'd be arrested today. So I'd wait till the people are getting on the plane and everything. Everybody's settling down. We always sat in the back of the plane. So I'd go get on the microphone and I'd say, excuse me, passenger Gene Hart, Mr. Gene Hart, please identify yourself. And of course he'd stand up, wave his hand. Momentarily, sir, we'll have a seatbelt extension for you. So please sit down. So, and then he would start bugging my IQ. I wear my IQ in the back, and we would banter from the time we'd get on the bus because the media used to arrive at that time. So, utmost love for him, his wife, what he did for the school kids as a teacher and all that. Obviously, we got Lauren Hart there, so hearing her sing all the time, it's always 2 in the air for Dad. So, it was a real family back there. It was a real family.
Well, you mentioned IQ. Is it true that he said your number on your jersey matched your IQ?
Pretty much. But I was one higher than Schultze.
Yes.
Well, hey, Hound, as hockey, if we ever get back to hockey for this year, what do you think about playing in empty arenas? Boy, that's got to be rough if that's the way it ends up going.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have no control over that, and you got to respect the virus and everything. And I think it's really it sounds like they want to play multiple games throughout the course of the day in there. So that's going to be a bit of an adjustment, I guess, to whittle it down. There's nothing worse than going out and skating in an empty building. We all know what practice is like. There's nobody in there while you're breaking your hump, but I'm sure we can find ways of helping to pump that up a little bit. But safety is the first concern. Getting back and getting a resolve to the end of the season and hopefully getting somebody hoist the cup is what you want to do. But you want to do that with your integrity for the teams that are right on the bubble more so. And again, it's not my pay grade, so I have no idea, but there's a lot of hurdles to jump over.
It's just a shame. The Flyers were playing so well in February and early March, one of the hottest teams in the league. They were, I think, one of the favorites to actually compete for the cup, according to Vegas. what do you think of this team? Is it a good enough team right now to be a perennial contender, for the next few years?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I think you saw Hart come in here, had a couple good games, and then he kind of faltered, and then he got hurt, and then he twisted around a little bit, bounced back. His confidence was back. His head was going the right way. Defense were really playing good out there. Not too many injuries. They've really, under AV and Terry in there, they've really changed the culture within the locker room, I believe. It's only me thinking this. I have no inside knowledge, but they've really changed the psyche in there. The players are really bought into each other. Claude Giroux, I think, is an outstanding captain. And here's a guy that's got lots of money. He's got the stats up there, but you want that cup. You want your name on the cup, and that's what he wants to battle for. And I think he's done great. He'll play anywhere you want him to play. The team's really put out the effort, and we've got a good camp staple down there in Lehigh Valley. I mean, we got some great players down there. They'll have to make a decision how many to bring up and who's coming up. So I think it's how well everybody can keep themselves in some kind of condition to hit the ice, so that at least we're ahead of the curve. It'd be nice.
All right, one final question I have for you, Bob. If we get the go ahead, they're saying in baseball they're going to need, say, 3 weeks of spring training. How long would it take to get geared up and get these guys back in, get them in playing shape, and get ready to go?
Everybody has a different body. We're a pretty young team. There's a couple older guys on the back end there, but we're a pretty young team, and you just lose your timing and your sense and whatever. Again, the coaching staff has done an outstanding job for what I see. They will be prepared. They'll know what's expected of them. They'll be running some short shifts out there. It's going to come down to defense and goaltending, but I like the team. I like the way Konechny works out there. Scotty Lawton has played outstanding this year. Not two of your bigger guys, but there they are. They're in there mucking, they're grinding, they're playing in the dirty areas and stuff like that. We've had a great buzz here in the city, marketing-wise and stuff like that. Everything was up. Merchandise is selling, tickets are up, the building's rocking, all the renovations in there. So we're good to go. Let's go.
One last question from me, Bob. With no games to watch or to go to, no sports on TV unless you like Korean baseball, what are you doing with your spare time?
Well, I get a phone call from Bernie. Bob, tonight they're going to play the 74-75 Stanley Cup game on TV. He said, so you're going to watch? I said, Bernie, first of all, I said, I know the outcome. Secondly, I didn't even play in it. And I said, you're very athletic and you didn't get your due. So, okay, I don't need to watch the game. I can remember the game from watching it, as I did. But they're just funny people, funny stuff. It's just great memories that I have, and very fortunate to have be at this point in my life and still having a blast around the team.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, hey, Bob, we want to thank you certainly for coming to join us. Let's do it again. Hopefully we get some hockey going on. We can talk games, talk real stuff too.
Yeah, that would be great. And thank you guys for all you do up there, and good luck to you, and everybody stay safe.
All
Thanks,
right,
Bob. Appreciate it.
All right, see you guys. Thank you.
See ya.
All right.